Okay, so today I'm going to do another one of these activity paintings. People engaged in certain activities or professions. This one's called In the Kitchen. So here's the drawing. It's a woman in the kitchen. She's rolling out some dough on the butcher block. So that's going to be the painting. Alright, so let's get started. Anyway, so her head, the back of her head is like right here, and then her head comes down like this. The hair, and then, is that right? Where's the shoulder? The hair, shoulder, let's see, shoulder's more over here. Then there's an arm that comes out here from her face, a couple of fingers with the hand. Is that right? And then the rolling pin is kind of like this. Comes all the way down here. And then the front of her body kind of does this. She's rolling a round piece of dough and does this. And then right here, there's another arm that does this. Is that right? That comes from here. And here's her other hand. And then the table. Yeah, it's the table. I think the table, I forget, I didn't put a table in here. There's a butcher block table. Oh, that just runs the whole length. All right, so this is the butcher block. All this, it's a butcher block table, right? So it does this. Yeah. And then let's see. So where's her neck? Where's the mouth? The mouth is here. Right? Here's her. She's got that long, I didn't put a forehead. Sometimes I leave the forehead out. So the eye, here's the eyebrow, and the eye is up here somewhere. And then the hair comes down. Where's her ear? The ear is got to be right here somewhere. Is that right? And her hair is coming like this. And then the shoulder is coming out here. Is that right? And then here's her sweater. How does that look? Is that right? Her arm looks a little short there. I don't know, I'll leave it. We'll see what happens. When I get some paint on, I have a better idea of what it's going to look like. Ah, I see. I think this, see, because her neck is sort of like this. Her shoulder must be in here somewhere. I don't think that's the shoulder line. I think the shoulder starts there. Well, let me put some paint on. Let's see, I'll have a better idea of what needs to be done. Maybe, is this right? I don't know, I have to get some paint done. So, I want to get the face, this area first. So a little yellow ochre, black, and white. For this sort of, let's see, the green, kind of a grayish green. And then it's your neck, and the, okay. Get her mouth in, get a little for the mouth. You know, I'll put the hair in while I'm at it. I always start with red hair. I can always change that later, because red seems to be a good color for hair. Sometimes I'm doing a portrait of somebody, I'll give them red hair, because it just makes it a better painting. It looks better. It's a better, it works better with all the, it pops, you know, there's more. You can't do much with brown. Brown is brown, it's kind of just lays there dead. But red, it's got a nice pop to it. So I'll give them red hair. They, even if they don't have red hair, and then they'll say, Jack, I don't have red hair. I say, yeah, I know. Sorry. But you look good with red hair. I'm putting a little yellow ochre in here just to add a little texture. I don't know. So that's not really red, but anyway, I'll leave it at that. Okay, so I want to do the hands. I gotta do the hands. Can I get both of them in there? I didn't draw these hands very well, but so this is the thumb actually, but that's okay. And then this one, this is her left, this is her right hand, so the thumb is there. This is her left hand, so the thumb is here, right? And then this is, what is that? If that's the thumb, this is the index finger. So then this will be the middle finger, right? And then this will be that other finger, and then this is the little finger. Something like that. All right, and well, I'll put the rolling pin in while I'm at it. What color is a rolling pin? Well, I don't know. It's kind of wood color, right? This is yellow ochre with a little bit of white that might. Okay, now for her her outfit, her dress. What do I want to do there? Doesn't really matter at this point. I'll use some, one of my favorite combinations is ultramarine blue and raw sienna. Gives you a nice dark green, beautiful dark green. I'll try that. And then I'll put some white in it, lighten it up a little bit. It's a nice color. Where's the shoulder? Here or up here? It sort of lines up with her chin. I think it's down here. I don't know, we'll try it down here. Now I'll add a little white to that. I could mix these colors on the palette, you know, mix the white and the ultramarine and the raw sienna together on the palette, but I always prefer to mix them on the canvas. You get a different effect. I think you see the brush strokes. You'll see the white and the other color. The white on top of the ultramarine and raw sienna, with the ultramarine and the raw sienna peeking through here and there, you know, because I have a very dry brush. So that gives it a nice effect. Although this is just the first stage of the painting, so you know, this is going to change, but that's okay. I'm just, at this point, you know, as I say, I'm just trying to get some paint down on the canvas. Gives me a better idea of the composition, the drawing, if there are any major problems with it. All right, now what? Now, this is some sort of dough. You know what? A good color for that might be when you mix black with Naples yellow, you get a really cool, interesting gray. Let's see. So here's the pizza dough. Yeah. And then I forgot to draw the other side. So what does it do? It does that, and then it comes down here. And up here. Yeah. So all this is pizza dough. And then the butcher block, that's kind of going to be almost the same color as this, but I'll have to change that. But anyway, the butcher black is all this stuff in here. See, that's not a good color for it, but this is the butcher black. And it covers all this. And then in the background, I don't know what that's going to be yet. Right now I just want to, let's see, is that in the frame? Right now I just want to get some paint down. I'll mix it in with a little of the Sienna Ultramarine. And a lot more white. Now I'm putting some thinner on because I just want to spread, makes it easier to cover all this stuff. I'm not so worried about the brush strokes now. This will all change. That's basically what I got at this point. Now I'm going to work on the drawing. So first of all, let's take a look at it. From the whole thing, what is it? How does it look from back here? Her arms look a little short. That's okay. The whole thing is kind of a caricature, so it doesn't matter. I just want a good drawing, that's all. Alright, put a little bit more paint in her face. At this point, I think. First of all, I'll give her an eye. And then the eyelid. So now the mouth. Normally I'll give a woman a big mouth. They like to have a big mouth. I had a friend, I did a painting of her. She said, give me a big mouth. I said, okay. So I did the painting, which came out great. She said, what kind of mouth is that? I look like a Martian. You know, I look like a mutant or something. I said, you told me to give you a big mouth. All right, so now I'm going to refine the drawing a little bit with some black paint. See what happens. So this is how I mix up the black paint with, take a brush, my number 6, put a little black paint in the saucer. Then I'll add some thinner. Work it around. It's a little too thin. Here, need some more paint. But that's the idea. Certain consistency. This looks okay, and then I use this little brush to do the drawing. But first of all, I think the shoulder should do something more like this. The neck comes out like that. I don't know. Don't like this. I think I want this to do more like this. Yeah, I like that better, I think. And then the mouth is this. Yeah, I like that better. Because the jawline, here's the bottom of the jaw, then there's the jawline. Usually that lines up with the earlobe, you know. The other one, I had it coming over here. It should be more pointing, almost pointing towards it, you know, like this, you know. That doesn't look too bad, actually, but I'll leave it, I like it like this. That's better. Okay. And the mouth looks okay. So now I've got to work on this and her hands. All right, so I'll do the upper hand. Anybody out there really likes my paintings and wants to become my assistant and operate the camera for me, I'm inviting them right now. Just send me an email. All right, so the arm. And the hand. This is the right hand, so this will be the little finger, right? Okay, get that, make sure I got that right. And then this would be, this is the ring finger, okay. And then the middle finger, which is bigger than the ring finger, I don't have enough room for it. I don't want to run it off the canvas, but. And then, what's that? Then this is the index finger, right? Yeah. And then the thumb does this. How's that look? Looks good. Yeah, this finger probably has to be a little bit smaller. Oh, it looks good. All right, here's the rolling pin. And then the shirt, she's got a little sleeve actually, like this. Okay. All right, now the lower hand. So then this is the thumb here. The thumb, the index finger, the middle finger. All right. Yeah. No, thumb. Here. This. What did I call this? That's the ring finger. Yeah. Okay. This is the index finger. All right. This is the index finger. This is the middle finger. All right. And then this will be the ring finger. And this will be the little finger. Okay. That looks all right. And then the little sleeve. The rolling pin comes down like this. We should bring it down a little further. And then the pizza. And then And this arm, well, maybe that's it for today. Although, I'm wondering if her head's a little too big for the painting. The back of her head, maybe. See, I always like to crop the top of the head. Don't ask me why. I always started doing that. I think it makes a more interesting composition. It's a little asymmetrical. But here, I think she's got, I don't know. If I do this. Yeah, I think that's better. I think there's a little too much head back there. I'll just do that. All right. Yeah, I think that's better. In fact, I think I'd like to. Well, I can work on that. All right, so anyway, I think that's enough for this stage. And then I just have to wait for it to dry. Wonder if this shoulder maybe needs to come up a little bit. Yeah, that's better, I think. All right, that's it. So I have to wait for it to dry a couple of days, then I come back and start working on. Probably have to tweak the drawing a little bit, put some paint down the flesh, paint her face, give it a flesh tone, the hands, and then work on the drawing of the face, see if there's any problems with some little details here and there. But right now, I think it's good enough for the second stage to begin after it dries. All right, so stay tuned. Okay, today I have to get back to this kitchen painting. I did the first stage. Now it's dry. Now it's time for part two. So I got a couple of things that I have to address here. One is, if you can see this, hold on. When I drew it, her hand is here. This is a rolling pin. She's rolling out some dough, right? Her hand is here. The end of the rolling pin is over here. So what I have to do is, I don't want to change her hand. Her hand is fine. I just have to move this over a little bit more, the end of this. I have to redraw the bowling pin at a different angle. It's got to do, instead of doing this, it has to do more like that. So I'll take care of that later. Right now I want to do some work on her face. Make sure I get the camera where I want it, like unlike the first couple of videos where I was talking about something and the camera was pointing at something else, and everything I was talking about was totally out of frame. I still have to do something about that one. But I think I'm starting to figure out the taping. It's labor intensive, the taping and the editing, especially the editing, I'm finding out, although I did a couple of videos years ago, but I'm re-finding out how labor intensive editing is, especially, you know, if you haven't done it for a while. But so yesterday I spent at least 2 hours to no avail. At the end of the 2 hours I realized I'd done everything wrong. But I'm getting there. Okay, so anyway, let's get to work on this face. I have to put some cadmium red in. I have to do the hands too. I always do the face and I forget I have to do the hands. It's easier to do all this stuff at one time instead of having to do everything twice, obviously. Alright, so can you see that? Well, take my word for it. You can see, I'm doing the upper hand. Now I'm doing the lower hand. It's not in the frame, but just, it's the same as this, except it's the other hand. Alright, I got that. So now, I have to wipe it down a little bit. In every video I explain why I have to wipe this down, because when I put the Naples yellow on, there's too much paint here. There's too much red paint. It'll suck up too much of the Naples yellow, so I have to wipe it down a little bit. Anytime you put in one paint on top of another, sometimes you have to, at least the way I paint, you have to rub off the first layer so that when you put the second layer on, it has more of an effect, you know. Alright, what kind of a brush do I want to use here? I'll use the big one to get started. Naples yellow. It might be a little too strong, but I'll know better later. And then, see right under here there should be a highlight for her cheekbone. Now this brush is too big for the rest of that stuff. So, filbert. When I first started painting, I used filbert. This is a filbert, you know, it has the round tip. I used mostly filberts. I just started using them, I liked them, and then at some point, maybe about 6-7 years ago, I started using the flats, and I changed from a bristle, a natural bristle, to a synthetic bristle, because I found these Princeton 6300s. I was looking at them at Dick Blick's in Los Angeles, and I really liked the feeling. They felt good, and so I tried them out, and I really like them. So I've been using flats instead of the filberts, and also I switched to a synthetic brush. So as I've said many times, don't economize on your brushes. You know, you can sometimes get away with using a student type paint, but buy good brushes. They'll last forever practically, and you have to, you know, they just feel better. You have to have them. I need, if you've done any painting at all, spent any time in an art supply store, I don't have to tell you, it's a dangerous place. I buy most of my stuff online at Jerry's Artorama, that's a good store, and Dick Blick in LA. I live in Los Angeles, so I sometimes buy Dick Blick online, and sometimes I go to the store. But whenever I go to the store, doesn't matter how little I plan on spending, I always spend more. I could go in there to buy a, a mat knife for like $3, and by the time I leave, I spent 40 bucks. this is looking good. This is looking good. Those highlights, you know, totally by accident, but they look, you know, they look good. After this dries, I'll wait a couple of days and I'll hit it with some shadows, you know, and towards the end. All right, so I'll do the hand, both hands. Obviously, I don't paint like Bob Ross. Bob Ross is great, don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic painter and highly successful. Something I will never criticize is success. Especially if you're in the arts, believe me. All right, so here's the lower hand. I gotta do that. This does this, right? Bob's amazing because he's painting wet on wet. He's using oil paints, but he's painting wet on wet. He knocks out the whole painting in one session. You know, that's very, very hard to do. That's very, very hard to do. Very few painters will do that with oils. You've got to usually wait, you know, after you've done one session, wait till it dries. Like this is my second session. There'll be a third. And then maybe a fourth just to hit a few details and tweak it a little bit. But so wet on wet is all right. Now while I'm over here, I gotta change that bowling pin. I just have to redraw it and put some paint down. Yeah, like, you know, it's up here. When that end should be over here where her hand is over the pin. Here, her hand is beyond it. So I just have to do this. Her hand is still a little bit over it, but that's okay. It's close. And then I've got to come down like, somehow I got to keep this hand in. I think this will work. And then this, yeah, almost at the bottom. How does that look? I think that looks all right. Her hands are still a little, but that's all right. That happens, you know, when you're doing that. And then I just have to paint over this. All right. So what's next? I think I'll do some work on her jacket. Right now I think it's a sort of a, I think I used the ultramarine blue and raw sienna, which is I like. I could do that again, maybe lighten it up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe what I should do is, you know what? I'll hit it with I'll mix the raw sienna, ultramarine blue, with a little bit more white, and then I'll go over it and see. It'll be a lighter color than this. This is fine. Maybe I should, you know, I should just do the same thing, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So right now, I'm mixing the raw sienna and the ultramarine. Now I'll hit it with some white. Yeah, all right, let's see. Let me do this. I'll just rub a little bit in, lightly. I'm not putting too much paint down. Then I don't have to rub it off. I'll do it lightly. I won't rub it off, like I normally would do. And then I'll hit it with some white. Maybe with some white mixed in with this, and we'll see what we get. Am I getting in there? Okay. All right, now I'll hit it with some white, see what we get. With a little bit of the other mixed in. Yeah, I don't know, it might be too light. It might be too light, but it might be okay. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Of course, it always depends on the other colors too, you know. How does it go with the flesh tone now? How does this work with that? You know, that's the thing. Because every time you put down a color, it influences and it affects the color next to it. I got too much blue in that. So, never know. Also, when I redraw the figure with the black paint, that'll tell me a few things also. Well, we'll leave it. I'll leave it like this. I'll leave it like this. Since I've already done it, maybe I won't have to do it over. Let's see. Now, the hair. Okay. I gave her red hair. I don't know if I want to keep it that way. I've been giving all my portraits red hair for some reason. First I want to hit it with some Viridian Green and Alizarin Crimson, a sort of a glaze or a wash, and then rub it out, get some shadows in there, and then so that's what I'm going to do now. This has to be thinned down quite a bit. Also, this color, depending on what I do with the background, that'll affect this too. So, alright, so I gotta, see, it's a little too much green. I need a little bit more of the crimson, alizarin crimson, but makes it a beautiful, kind of a dark purple. It's great for dropping shadows in. I gotta move this thing, it's in my way. I also, being a novice at videotaping, I gotta be careful not to knock the camera over while I'm moving around. I've had a couple of times. Alright, now I have to wipe some of this out. See, already the hair looks better, you know, because it's got some depth to it because of those shadows. And for example, if you want, you know, if you want to highlight here, like on a strand, here's a strand of hair over towards her ear, you can rub it out, it gives you a highlight. Okay, that looks, see, that looks much better. Now, I'll put in some, I'll just put in a little bit of the red. I'll leave her hair red. Looks good. And I'll just put in a little bit, oh, I got some white in there. Alright, so I'll put a little bit of the red in. Still getting some white in there. I'll rub it out a little bit. And then I'll throw in some ochre. With a very, very dry brush and not too much paint. Let's see what I get. And then I can make some strands, make it look like she's got some strands. Like here, there's going to be a strand. There's a strand right here. Coming down here, there's a strand. I need a little bit of red in there though. A little bit of red. And then I'll wipe it out just a little. And then I'll hit it with some of the ochre. And then I can do the same thing here with a slightly bigger brush. Come down and I don't know if you can see that, but it's not real sharp, but the idea is there. And along here, here's another strand, like for example, so see, like that. And then with a bigger brush, you know, not bad. Hair is a problem. Hair is tough. When I draw it though, it'll pop more. All right, so that's good. Now the background, this, all this. All this, and then down here, that's a butcher block. So that's gonna be that's gonna be a different color than the background over here. So let me do that first. I'll paint the butcher block. Then after I painted it, I'll come down with some lines, you know, so it looks like the butcher block. But what color do I want for that? Maybe a raw sienna with some white in it. I don't know. We'll try that. I'm gonna put the raw sienna in first. Let me get in a little closer. All right, now throw some white in there, see what we get. How does that look? Does it look like a butcher block? Might be all right, I don't know. Well, I'm going to leave it like this, and then when I put when I put the lines in to indicate, you know, the butcher block effect, that may change everything. It may make it look okay. Right now, I don't like this color. It's whenever you're working with the earth colors like the siennas, the umbers, the ochres, they're very, very heavy, opaque colors. When you put any other color, mix it with any other color, you have to be careful it doesn't get too muddy because they're very, very opaque and thick paints. So you have to be careful with that. You don't, see, this is too, I just don't like it, but I'm going to leave it for the time being. Now the dough, she's making pizza or something, so it has to be dough colored. What is dough colored? Well, if you mix black with Naples yellow, you get an interesting kind of grayish, whitish thing. I don't know. I'm going to do that. See what we get. All right, so we're here. It almost looks like yeah, it's a gray. I got too much black in there. That's the only thing. I hit it with some more Naples yellow. I think that's the original color that's down now. So I want to see. It doesn't look. And these two colors don't go. This is not happening. So this is going to be okay. I can tell that right now. I'll know what to do with this. This is going to have to change. I might hit this if it. Well, I'd have to wait till it dries. I don't know. We'll see. Later on, maybe I'll figure something out. I'll get inspired. Inspiration comes to those who are at their desk, you know, not while you're out shopping. I learned that. Joan Didion, the writer, she said, writer's block is for amateurs. I agree. I don't know, that's a good color for the dough, but I'm going to leave it. I like the color though. I like that color. Yeah, this is not happening. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scrape that off right now because I don't even like looking at it. It's just too ugly a color. It's too ugly. I can scrape some of it off. Just enough so that when I paint over it, this paint that's already on won't interfere as much. If I see, I'm getting a lot of paint off there. But what do I want to use instead? I'm just going to throw some white, some more white on it. Maybe white with Naples yellow. That might look good. Then I'm still using, you know, Naples yellow is also a very thick paint, very opaque. Let's try, see what I get. A little bit of white, a little bit of Naples yellow. Where are we? Well, I like this already. This is a big improvement already. I can see that. Big improvement. It's still mixing with that raw sienna, you know, which is not good, but I can't help that. I can't get all that raw sienna off unless I hit it with some paint thinner. I don't want to do that. I just keep hitting it, adding more white, see, I'll be better. See, this is very, I don't know if you can see that. This is starting to look a little bit muddy. It's just a little bit muddy, but it's better than it was, so. Well, we'll see. When I get those lines down to indicate a butcher block, that might, plus, while I'm doing this, I can still keep rubbing off some paint. You know, I can rub off some more up here, and then maybe, you know, rub it off some more. And that'll help. See, already it looks better. Nice to see those brush strokes too. You want to see brush strokes. I like to see some brush strokes. I like it. I think it's starting to happen. All right, get this part here. It's a pretty big pizza she's making, but maybe she's got a big family. Cool. Now the rolling pin. The rolling pin is the same color as, you know, a rolling pin normally is the same color as a butcher block. They're both made out of wood, but what have I got down? I'm going to use the maybe some yellow ochre with black. What would that look like? It's dark. I'll just put it in just to get some paint down. Then I can hit with some white if I have to, but just to get some paint down. Yeah, I'll hit it with a little bit of white right now. It'll make it sort of, it's going to be more, I don't know, that might be too much, like, maybe more white, huh? A little bit more white. Now it's almost the same color as the dough. It might work. I don't know. All right, anyway, let's move on. I gotta just get the background in, and then I can start drawing, do some drawing. So for the background, I'm gonna try some cadmium red and white, just to see what happens. It's too much red, but I can fix that. And then maybe a little yellow ochre, because the red might be too intense. Because I got far too much red in there now, but let me just wipe it off a little bit. I'll hit it with some white now. You know, it's not bad. Do I love it? Do I like it? Is it somewhat acceptable? How would I describe this? I don't love it, I know that. But it's not bad. I think it might be too bright. I don't know. All right, so I'll hit it with a little bit of yellow ochre. See what that does. Oh, that's ugly. It's ugly is what it does. Just a little bit though. And then then what I'll do is I'll scrape it. The old scraper out. Then hit it with some more white. That yellow ochre was not a good idea. See that right now? That was not a good idea. It's too warm. The color is too warm now, I think. See, white is kind of a cool color. It's very cool. And yellow ochre is warm. And red can be either one, warm or cool. I don't pay too much attention to warm versus cool colors. I just try one. Try a color, doesn't work, try another color. You know. It's really ugly. So, get out the old rubbing cloth. What could I put in there that would be good? I'm just going to throw some more white down. With a little bit of red maybe. Just to get this area out of the way. It's sort of acceptable. This isn't bad. This isn't bad. Just a little bit of red in that white. It's too much, but see, that's better. Time I did a painting of a friend of mine playing the piano. Came out great. He had this beautiful old kind of sweater, Shetland sweater, whatever it was. And the sweater I painted cadmium red with a little bit of white. It came out sort of orange. Sweater came out great. Then for the background, I used the cadmium red again with a lot of white. And for some reason, that came out so beautiful that I couldn't believe it. And but I was never able to duplicate that effect. I've been trying ever since, for about 12 years, trying to duplicate that effect, and I have never come close. There was a combination of his sweater and the background that just popped the whole painting, brought it to life, and it was fabulous. So, in fact, you know, I gave it to him, and he had a bunch of Christmas cards made with that painting on it. He had about 2,500 or something like that. He just loved the painting. He still has it, of course. All right, so that's not bad. Now I have to do some drawing, though. I have to hit her mouth a little bit before I go any further. I use some alizarin crimson. You know, alizarin crimson with a little bit of the cadmium red light. And I'm going to leave her upper lip sort of dark because there's always a shadow there. So I'll put a little of the alizarin crimson and viridian green in the upper lip to give it sort of a darker thing. Alright. Also, you know, I got to do her eyelid. I always forget the eyelid. The eyelid's part of the, I mean, it's flesh color, you know, so you got to get that in there. Okay, now I gotta start drawing. For the drawing, you know, I used some black paint with a lot of thinner in it. In this like little saucer here, you know. I use a very, very small brush and I do that. Okay, so I'll start with the face. Redraw that. Now, this part of the painting, you have to be careful because once you put this black paint down, this outline, you start redrawing the painting with the black paint. You can't put too much, then you can't go back and start painting again. I mean, you can, but you have to be very careful you don't hit that black line, because then the black is gonna smear the paint that you're putting down. So this comes is one of the last things you're gonna do. There's still another step. I have to wait till this dries and then come back and do some little touch up here and there, but right now it's starting to look good. See, if I smudge this a little bit, that's okay, because then I can come back and correct that, but you know, you try to be careful. Here's the nostril, and there's always like a little shadow there. Okay, and then this comes down. Here's the hair, this strand, you know. And then there was that strand. Mouth. And then don't forget this. That's the philtrum. I like it. It's looking good. All right, so her eyebrow, I still have to paint the eyebrow. It's going to be the same color as her hair. Nice. I like it. Give her sort of a collar. It always looks good. And then the hair comes down here. All right, now what? Now the hand. While I'm at the hand, I can draw the rolling pin. How many fingers? She's got 1, 2, 5. I got that right. Sometimes I leave out a finger. And I chalk it up to artistic, creativity or something. I think it's Chagall's got a famous painting where one of the characters has 6 fingers. And my friend and I were looking at it. She said, why did he give her 6 fingers? I said, I have no idea. I have no idea. But he's Chagall, so he was able to get away with it. Let's see, she has fingernails, obviously. She's got fingernails. Okay, now I'll go down and do this hand. And the rolling pin. All right, this thing's starting to look good, I think. I really like it, yeah. What else? I'm almost done for today. Gotta get the arm in here. And then, what else? That's it. The back a little bit. So, now I'll wait for this to dry, and then when I come back, just a few things. I'm going to leave the face the way it is. I might add a few shadows here and there on the face. You know, I'll put some shadows in under the eye, a little bit up here, maybe a little bit under the nose down here, the neck here and here, do that. But the rest looks good, just the way it is, I think. So, I'll let it dry and maybe I can knock it off. I'm almost ready for the last thing I do with a painting, which is to sign my name. I'm almost ready for that. I could do it today, actually. I'm happy with it. But we'll do it then. Maybe I'll do it right now. Okay, I'm going to do it right now. I'll do it right now. Usually when I sign a name, I don't put it at the bottom of the painting. I put it on some horizontal line, like, well, this is probably the best place, right along her shoulder. Right along her shoulder. Of course, that paint is wet, but I could still do it. I don't do my whole name, obviously it's too long. Okay, that means it's ready for the museum. All right, stay tuned. Okay, I gotta get, I have to do a little bit more work on this painting. It's almost done, and it's looking pretty good, I think. A couple of things I want to work on, I want to change actually. She's rolling out some pizza dough or some kind of dough, but the color of the dough is pretty close to the color of her sweater or, you know, shirt, I want to change that. I have to make that more white, I think. Also, this area here, that's a butcher block. I haven't drawn the lines in yet. I'll have to do that, but I'm not happy with that color either. It's too white or something. I want to make that, sometimes when you mix violet with yellow, you get a beautiful kind of a brown. I'm going to try that. That might be a good color for the butcher black, because at this point I'm not real happy with that color. What else? I got to give her an eyeball. That's about it, I think. And I fill in some bare areas here that need to be filled in a little bit, and the rolling pin, I don't know if I'm going to keep that color. But anyway, right now my main problem is the butcher black, and I have to do something with this dough. Maybe just make it a little bit more white. All right, so now I'm mixing the yellow and the purple. Yeah, this is a nice color. All right, let's see what happens. I might need to add some white to this actually, but right now I think that might work here. It's usually a good idea to mix two colors to make a certain color rather than using a more pure version of that color straight from the tube, you know. When you mix two colors together, gives it a little more energy, I think, to the chroma, you know, which is a word used to describe the effect of a color on light, you know. So let's see. And you can do it when you're mixing two colors. You can do one of two ways. You can mix them on the palette, or, you know, right now I'm mixing them on the palette and applying them to the canvas. But you can mix them right in the canvas. I could scrub down some violet on the canvas, then come over it with the yellow. What kind of yellow am I using? Some sort of, I think it's a cadmium yellow. All right, now what? All right, now let's try it. I'll rub it out a little bit. And then I'll put on some white and see what we get. Maybe we'll be lucky. It'll look good and I won't have to do it over. I'm mixing the white up a little bit on the palette with the... Oh, that's ugly. I don't like that. What's wrong with this? Does that look like a butcher black color? What does it need? Well, it's better than it was, I think, but I don't know. Maybe a little more violet with the white. No, it needs more yellow. I don't know, let's see. You know what, I'm going to do this, and when I put down the lines to indicate that it's a butcher black, that may do something to it. Something positive, you know. It's not bad. Well, I'll go with this for the time being, and then we'll see. Maybe a little more white, I think. I don't know. that better? Is that better? Is that better? A little bit more white. That doesn't look bad. It almost looks a little butcher blacky. Well, I'll put the lines down. I'll do that now, actually. I'll put the lines down now. Because right now it doesn't look like anything, but... Alright, so... and I want to start... With the lines, I want to start here, because this is the edge of the table. This is, you know, she's leaning right up against the countertop, which is a butcher block. So that's the edge of the butcher block. So that first line has to be like, you know, has to show one, what would you call it? The first block of the butcher block. Okay. Now how wide do I want to make it? Right about here, maybe. Okay. And then down here. Is that the right thickness, width? This should be straight. Okay, now the next one will be right here. Okay, and then that'll come down like this. And then there'll be one here. You can see that. Now, over here, I don't know, all right, so the next one would be right about here. So then that's going to come up here like that, right? And then the next one will be here. All right, oh, that's looking good, isn't it? And then this would be like here. And then maybe it'll come out just right, you know, never know. It's gonna come out exactly right. How about that? I'm a genius. All right, so then, and then I have to finish it off down here, but, and then that does like this, does that, and then, fantastic. Well, that was easy. I have to go over these lines. They're not right, but you know, I think it looks okay. Okay, so I have to work on that dough. It's too green, which not going to make a good-looking pizza, but so I know the color I want for that. I want some black and some Naples yellow. I think that'll look good. Unless it looks too much. I think I used that with the rolling pin. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but well, I'll try it. It's the same color. It's green. You know why? Because I don't have any white in there. Or maybe I don't have enough Naples yellow, you know? No, I need some white, I think. That's better though. I didn't have enough Naples yellow in it. Well, that looks very doughy. That looks doughy. And then maybe a little more, I don't know. This looks okay. I don't think I need any white. Looks all right. It isn't the true, it's not what the true color of the object that you're painting. That's not the point. The point is, how does it work? How well does it work as a painting? How well does it work with the other colors? You know, whether this looks like dough or not, the real color of dough, that's not the point. The point is, how does it work in the painting, you know? I think I might want to add just a little bit of white. I'll try that. See what we get. Yeah. I don't think I want to add too much white to this. I don't think that's a good idea. But I have to change the rolling pin because the rolling pin and this are starting to look too much alike. The rolling pin might look good with this color, the color of the butcher block, because they're the same, they're wood, right? With maybe a little bit more white to it. Well, I need a smaller brush to get in these areas. And then what is this goes all the way, what does this do actually? Does this maybe up around here, the rest of the dough. I think what happens is there's a line like this. Yeah, no, I think it should, maybe should do this, come in like that. That's it. It ends here. Okay. Yeah, and then this area is part of the butcher block, so. I can do that. Yeah, I'm getting some black in there. Then still trying to improve my videotaping talents or expertise. Sometimes I tend to forget I have to move the camera to better demonstrate what's going on, you know. I've been starting to do some editing of some of the paintings that are almost finished, and the editing is brutal. It's just brutal, especially trying to insert one clip. When I'm mixing paint, from time to time I want to show, you know, the paint being mixed on the palette, so that's a separate video clip. And I have to cut that up into little pieces and then insert it into the main video clip, which is, you know, me painting on the canvas. And you know, it's just a learning curve. I'm using iMovie, which is good, you know, and there are plenty of videos on YouTube that show you how to use iMovie, but you know, it's still labor intensive. Although at some point, I'll get the hang of it and it'll go a lot faster, you know. But editing is so important with these things. You know, there are a lot of, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. Some of them are really great, and some of them are truly horrible. A lot of these people can't even speak clearly. They mumble, they speak too fast, they forget that they're trying to communicate something. All right, so anyway, I want to do the rolling pin. It needs a little bit more white. No, almost the same color as the butcher block, maybe with some, a little more white to it. Let's try that. We'll try that. So, of course, I have to move the camera. I just did exactly this thing that I was saying, you know, I got to stop doing. All right, so I'm using that same color, the violet and yellow, on a butcher block, but I'm going to add a little bit more white. I think that might. See if that's going to work. I don't know. Yeah, it's not bad. The other thing I can do is when this dries, I can go over it with a dark glaze and then rub it out, give it a little more body, more texture, you know. But right now, I think that's okay. What else? The eyeball, I got to do some drawing, and give her an eyeball. Don't want to forget that. Also, I have to paint her eyebrow. It's just black right now, and it has to be the same color as her hair, you know. So I'll do that right now. Just gotta put a little. There's a little red with. Oh, that's good. I don't even need the yellow ochre. All right, that's fine. Okay, I gotta just touch up some of the drawing here. The bowling pin. I have to do the lines too on the butcher block there. They need to be a little bit darker. Let's see here. I should really wait for this to dry, but I'll see. I can do it right now. I'll see what happens. If I've got a, that's why I need a lot of thinner in this black paint, so it cuts right through the paint that's the wet paint that's on the canvas, you know. That looks better. for a while, I was drawing some landscapes. I did a series called California Landscapes, and it was like usually a house, a big house, kind of a generic Spanish style house that we see a lot of in Southern California. And in front was a bunch of cactus. And I had to whenever I had to redraw the cactus, and each cactus had about 200 like little cacti on it, and I had to redraw each one every time it needed to be done, and that was pretty labor intensive. Painting is a form of therapy, though, you know? It's a form of therapy for me, and I'm sure for most painters. When you're painting, you put the, what do you call it, the blinders on, like they give to the horses when they're in a race, you know, and it shuts out everything else. Yeah, see, this is too wet. It's not really, it's a problem. I don't like that. Yeah, that's good enough. When this dries, I can go over it with the white and clean up that line a little bit. All right, so what's left? Not too much. She needs an eye, that's all. So, that's easy. It's easily done. Take a little brush. Well, first I gotta add a little bit of white to here. Never really know what you're gonna get when you put an eye in, you know? It changes the entire look. It could have the look that you could get the look that you're after, or you could get a totally different look that you're not after, that doesn't fit in with the spirit of the painting, you know? You never know, really. So what do we got now? Yeah, that looks good. It looks like she's very intense on what she's doing, you know? Which is the effect that you want. Let's see, I have to I have to draw this finger again. Right there. So, I already signed it. You know, I signed it last time. That's usually the last thing I'm going to do, but I did it last time for some reason, so it's been signed, and hold on, I want to right around. I need some touch up right here. All right, so up here too. Right here on the rolling pin, a little bit. Well, I think that's it, huh? In the kitchen. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, wait, I forgot something. The butcher block right here. There's another line. and then right here.